Before we dive into this deeply moving story involving a world-famous singer and a humble woman, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a story that stirs the heart and soul. Have you ever witnessed someone on the brink of making the worst mistake of their life? That's precisely what unfolded tonight when a renowned singer noticed a quiet woman in his audience. He thought she'd be an easy target, a random face to poke fun at for a few laughs. But life has a way of flipping the script. Sometimes, the quietest person in the room is hiding something astonishing. Believe me, you're not ready for what's about to unfold. Emma hadn't intended to be here. The ticket had been lying forgotten in her kitchen drawer for weeks, buried beneath old takeout menus and expired store coupons. Her coworker Jessica had won it in some obscure radio giveaway and practically shoved it into her hands. "You need to get out for once," Jessica had insisted, rolling her eyes when Emma tried to turn it down. And no, binging wildlife documentaries doesn't qualify as a social outing. So now here Emma was, squished into a seat that probably cost more than her monthly grocery budget. Everyone around her looked like they'd stepped out of a fashion spread designer. Everything, flawless makeup. Emma tugged at her denim jacket, a practical and cozy choice. But now it felt embarrassingly out of place in this opulent venue. Crystal chandeliers glittered above her. The ornate ceilings were painted in gold leaf designs, and the air reeked of wealth and status. Emma half wondered if there was a dress code she had overlooked. "First time here?" asked the woman seated next to her. Her blonde hair was styled to perfection, and her sequined blouse sparkled under the lights. "Yeah," Emma replied, trying to keep her voice neutral and hide just how uncomfortable she felt. "Oh, you're in for something special. I've seen everyone who matters perform on this stage," the woman said, leaning closer to whisper. "Though, let's be honest, some of these newer performers are all flash, no depth." Emma nodded politely, unsure whether she agreed. Good music was good music, wasn't it? Either it moved you or it didn't. She'd always gravitated toward lyrics that told real stories, not just vocal gymnastics. As the lights dimmed, felt that familiar flutter of anticipation that comes with live music. There's something magical about a room full of people waiting for the same moment, the kind that pulls you somewhere beyond your daily life. She'd only ever been to 3 concerts, a folk festival at 16 that made her fall in love with raw, acoustic music, a classical performance her aunt dragged her to, which turned out surprisingly beautiful, and one disastrous punk rock show during college where the music was so loud she left with a pounding headache. Tonight felt unlike any of those. The crowd was excited, yes, but there wasn't the usual chaos. It felt elevated, like the difference between champagne and a cheap can of beer. Both could get you somewhere, but one had class. Emma decided to give Damon Rivers, tonight's performer, a fair chance. She knew his radio hit scotchy tunes, pleasant voice, lyrics that didn't dig too deep. He was famous for a reason. Maybe seeing him live would help her understand the hype. The crowd's buzz grew louder as people discussed their favorite tracks, previous shows, and wild guesses about what songs might make it into the set. Despite herself, Emma felt a little of that excitement rubbing off on her. There was something contagious about being surrounded by people so genuinely passionate. She glanced at her phone, then tucked it away. Jessica would undoubtedly demand a full report. Did you have fun? Did you talk to anyone? Did you remember what it's like to interact with other humans, instead of hiding away like a cave hermit? Emma could already hear the teasing. Maybe this night wouldn't be so bad. Maybe she'd even enjoy herself. At the very least, it would give her something new to tell Jessica on Monday, instead of her usual tales of laundry and grocery shopping. Did she know she was about to become the highlight of the evening? When Damon Rivers strode onto the stage, Emma immediately understood the obsession. He was painfully attractive, dark, artfully tousled hair, a navy blazer tailored to perfection, and an aura of confidence that suggested he never second-guessed anything in his life. "Good evening, beautiful people," he purred, voice smooth, like aged whiskey. The crowd went wild. Damon stood there, basking in the glow like he was born for this spotlight. He kicked off the show with his biggest hit, upbeat, catchy, a real crowd pleaser. Emma had to admit, the man could sing. Every note was nailed with precision, his vocals flawless. Yet something felt off. It was too polished, too rehearsed. Like watching a luxury car commercial instead of experiencing music. Between songs, Damon interacted with the crowd like a well-trained showman. "How's everyone feeling tonight?" he asked. The audience screamed, "I can't hear you." Even louder screams. "Now that's what I'm talking about." He winked. "I've performed all over the globe, but there's something really magical about—" He paused, clearly struggling to recall the city's name. "Being here with all you beautiful souls, tonight." Emma noticed he never actually named the city, probably recycled that line in every town he visited. As the show went on, cracks in Damon's perfect persona began to show. His compliments often had an odd sting to them. He'd comment on someone's outfit or hairstyle, and while the words were playful, the tone was more mocking than kind. "I just love performing for real people," he said during one interlude, scanning the audience with a gaze that felt more like judgment than appreciation. Not just industry types or critics, actual humans with actual lives. You keep me grounded, remind me why I fell in love with music. The words seemed right, but the tone, it screamed elitism. Emma shifted, uncomfortably in her seat. Years in customer service had taught her to spot fake politeness wrapped in passive-aggressive digs. Damon was practically dripping with it, and he was building toward something. Some of my best shows happen when I really connect with the everyday crowd, he continued, his voice full of self-satisfaction. When I can tear down that barrier and just share something real. There it was again, everyday people. He said it the way her ex-husband used to belittle her hobbies. Patronizing, like patting a child for coloring inside the lines. Meanwhile, the woman beside her gushed, "He's so humble, so sincere." Emma bit her tongue. Sincere was the last word she'd use. Everything about him felt curated, calculated. He had talent and charisma, no doubt, but genuine. Not even close. As he segued into a love ballad about finding authenticity. In a fake world, Damon descended from the stage, walking through the crowd with a wireless mic, brushing shoulders and posing for selfies. Emma glanced at her watch. She was debating whether she could sneak out before the encore. Then, it happened. Their eyes met. Damon was scanning faces. That perfect smile still in place until he landed on Emma. She wasn't filming, wasn't waving, wasn't She looked, neutral, maybe even bored. For someone who thrived on admiration, Emma's indifference was a jolt. "Well, hello there," he said, changing course, toward her. "You look like you're having the time of your life." Heads turned, phones raised. Emma flushed, but kept her tone calm. "I'm enjoying the performance," she said truthfully, if stretching the word enjoying a bit. Damon's smile sharpened. "What's your name, darling?" "Emma." "Emma," he repeated, like testing a bland wine. "So, Emma, what do you do when you're not gracing concerts in your Sunday casuals?" Laughter rippled around them. Emma stayed composed. "I work in an office." An office? Damon clapped his hands theatrically. "How delightfully ordinary. I bet you've got strong thoughts on music too, huh? Maybe think those TV talent shows are where real artists are discovered." His smug tone made it clear this was no longer fun. Phones were up. People sensed drama. "I think good music is good music, no matter where it comes from," Emma replied, voice firm. "And I think real talent doesn't need to put others down." There were murmurs of agreement from a few nearby. Damon's eyes narrowed. "Oh, we've got a philosopher," he declared, faux enthusiasm thick in his voice. "Tell you what, Emma from the office, since you seem to know so much about talent, why don't you show us how it's done?" The crowd held its breath. Emma's pulse spiked. Damon smiled cruelly. "Come on, if you're right, the talent will speak for itself." This was no longer a joke. It was a test, a trap, a potential humiliation. Emma almost sank into her seat, but something inside her, something long silenced, rose. "You know what?" she said, rising to her feet. "Why not?" She walked toward the stage. The noise, the lights, the crowd, all of it blurred. She heard nothing but her heartbeat. Damon grinned at the audience. "Let's give it up for Emma from the office." Polite, awkward applause followed. Emma ascended the stairs, blinded by stage lights. Damon handed her the mic with exaggerated flair. "Please, no karaoke classics," he mocked. Emma took the mic. "Actually," she said steadily, "I had something else in mind." She closed her eyes and remembered, her mother singing while cooking, her old voice teacher who once told her she had something rare. The lonely nights in her room, singing into a mirror, dreaming. "This song means something to me," she said. "It's about holding on to who you are, even when others try to define you." She began to sing. Her voice wasn't loud or was gentle, almost intimate, but it was real. The band scrambled to catch up, but Emma didn't need them. Her voice carried everything. Emotion, history, truth. The crowd went silent. Damon stared at her, all confidence drained. This wasn't the disaster he expected. Emma's voice soared. It wasn't perfect, but it was powerful in its honesty. Authentic in a way that Damon's show had never touched. People stopped filming. Tears welled. Smiles appeared. By the time she reached the final note, the room was transformed. Silence. And then thunderous applause. Damon stood speechless beside her. "That was ... he began, but the words didn't come. Emma looked at him, calm. "Music should never make people feel small," she said, handing him the mic. "It should remind us we're part of something bigger." Then she walked off stage, just a woman in a denim jacket, leaving behind a memory no one would ever forget.